educate a large group of people on what's to come and to say, hey, now is the time to start taking things serious. Like, how do you begin to even do something like that?
First, it starts with as a black man. And what you've been doing right now is helping. I need to do something to keep saying everything. Because I say it every day to other people. I need to get on the mic and say it myself. And everybody else on here needs to say something. All that cowardness and them turning a blind eye and all that stuff, man, you gotta kill that. Like you said, we in a psychological warfare. And if we not paying attention, it's gonna be alright. Anyway, we pretty much 34 stairs. So if we don't start paying attention, that one wolf is gonna catch us. So they know what they doing, and they covering this up.
Yeah, because I
They
haven't
don't
seen.
contradict what they say.
Well, the thing is, I haven't seen the story anywhere. So I'm like, well, I guess I'm the first content creator who talked about this. This is crazy.
Yeah.
And this story has been out damn near 2 weeks. And it's like, well,
Well, that's the power of the media. They say, don't get it twisted. Detroit was the best of city. But there are good neighborhoods in Detroit, depending on where you go. They'll never show the nation that.
mm,
Okay? Just like Chicago, just like Atlanta, all the cities. The only thing they're going to show the media is the hood and the bad things that go on.
correct.
So to back to what you said, it's up to us to do our research. And a lot of people are not doing that. They're too lazy to do it, and they're too stuck on that news on the big TV. So, yeah.
All right, brother.
What's going on?
All right,
Go
brother.
ahead, man. I'm talking. I'm with it.
No, it's all good. You got more to say, or that's it?
No, that's it, man.
Okay.
I appreciate you letting me talk.
Hey, I appreciate you for calling in. Enjoy the rest of your day, partner. Peace.
You do the same. Thanks.
Okay, so again, when crafting a hate crime bill, hopefully, and again, I don't think the story is going to gain any traction. For some odd reason, it's been out for a while, and I did a little research, and at least here on YouTube, I'm the only content creator who's talking about it, or who has talked about it. What about, so ignore the hood chaos. Even when they do those stories, they aren't blaming black people. They're blaming gun control and systematic racism. So ignore the hood chaos. I don't ignore the hood chaos. I actually talk about the hood chaos. I, what's your name and where you calling from?
Oh, it's big and weed.
What's up with the Dick and Weasel?
And I can hear you now, brother. I want to apologize about the last time. Brother, I'm on this metro and this T-Mobile, so I'm on this liberal Democrat phone, brother. So
Okay.
you can't tell the boys or nothing, brother. It's a drug dealer phone.
Okay.
You can go inside the window. You can smoke your weed. But I'm telling you, brother. But brother, how you doing, brother? And I'm gonna let my brother chop it up with you.
You probably wonder what was that recording? That's Don Mega, and he was reporting about a story about Asian Romanians committing a hate crime on Asian people. And what he was saying was that he just not reported today, and he was saying that uh, that how the Asian community don't call out Europeans and European and other people, but they always call out black people, and they legislate the black on Asian crime. Then the black person get a higher sentence than they get black. But when it's a white person that commit on Asian people, it's not really much smoke to it. This is what he was saying. So it was a story that was I can't do it. It was like 30 people from Romania are on the loose, and they caught 15 Romanian in America snatching jewelry off elderly Asian people, and he's the only one that's covering it. No one's on YouTube. It's not even on. I'm on Roku TV. I'm looking at stations in California. I don't hear nothing about it. I don't hear nothing on Newsmax or any of these other channels. Talk about only thing they talked about was that man that went in the restaurant and shot up those 7 people, and then that other man, the other Asian man. But that's as far as they go. And he was just saying how hypocrisy it was, but they showed one black person doing something, 1 or 2 black people doing something, and they crafted Asian bill. And then someone said that the black people are committing a higher crime out there in California than any. I don't know if it's just there, but he was just saying. But you think that was something? But there was an article that these were Chinese that were not. They Chinese in Jamaica, and this probably was on YouTube. But they burned down a Chinese restaurant. But they didn't want and the reason why they didn't want Jamaica, they don't want no Jamaicans in their restaurant. They in Jamaica, and they don't want Jamaicans in their restaurant. These are Chinese people. Don't want Asians in it. But these particular people, and it someone recorded on YouTube. But let me see. And so the Jamaicans down there, they burnt that sucker to the ground. So whoever the Jamaicans, they burnt it to the ground. And what he's saying, how the way some, immigrants from the certain Asian groups come into black neighborhoods, set up stores and restaurants, and they kind of put you down. And then when it would cause the White House to push the bill to give them a law to protect Asians. That's what he's saying. But not only that happened, but it's something that is really talked about. It's not on mainstream media. And basically, he's saying, how come black people won't call it out? What actually mainstream media don't call it out, and they try to like water it down. But if they show a person who's mentally ill and they happen to be black, they'll show that. But it was in Kingston, Jamaica. This was in Kingston. This is on Facebook. This 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 really did happen. This is it's the Facebook version. Fair use.
Don't tell your mama what you're selling. So then and with that being said, brother Peter, I want to work with you. And we need to get us a show or a segment together, brother.
All right, well,
Yes, sir, because what a nigga got a lot to talk about, man.
I see.
I thank you,
Okay.
brother.
Okay, well,
Oh, no, go ahead, brother. I'm listening.
you got some more, or is that all you got? If you got some more, keep firing.
But you know what? What I got to tell you,
But yeah, that was so that was a big thing. So, but the Chinese were getting it, and so this is what this thing is all about. Here's more pictures of it, of the restaurant. I just played a short clip of it, but this is yeah, they didn't want no Jamaicans in the restaurant. They in Jamaica, and they don't want Jamaicans in the restaurant. They on an island of Jamaica. And only that they did this, the Chinese did this. I believe they did this in Kenya too. I think it was Kenya, one of them countries that they opened up a restaurant over there, and it didn't want Africans in there, and they just wanted only Europeans coming in there. They come to a black country. They come to a black country, a black island like Jamaica, and discriminate against the Jamaicans. So you know what the Jamaicans did? Some of the Jamaicans did. They burned down their place. You're gonna come up in their neighborhood and discriminate against them and practice colonialism. So this is what they did. And in some places they treat them in different parts of Africa so bad. You know, they showed the one man getting beat by Asians. And he was getting caned by an Asian. See, here it is right here. But yet, this is in Jamaica. How you gonna go to an island where it's mostly black looking people? You don't like black people, but yet you want to make money off of black people or Jamaican people, and thinking that you're going to get just only white people, and majority black island, majority black police What's wrong with these? What's wrong with these people, man? I never could figure that out. Why would if you don't like black people, don't go to a black country? But this is what it was. These people robbed their elderly people.
What's your name? Where you calling from?
Not one black person did
Kay
this.
from Dallas, Texas.
Shout out to Kay from Dallas, Texas. What's on your mind, partner?
These are Romanians.
Well, I was listening to you. I've been listening to you for a couple of years now, you know what I'm saying? But
Thank you very much.
you touching on this topic of criminality with Romanians
Correct.
and groups in America. Of course, that come from different countries, and they have their legal and illegal sides, you know. And I mean, out here in Texas, it's wild, you know. This cartel is out here. They legitimize their business,
Mm.
you know. And if you're gonna do that and represent your community group, you gotta keep it quiet. You know, I was fortunate enough to go to California a couple of years ago, and I know the Asians out there. They have a group of Asians out there that get down in LA, in the Bay Area. You know, they have major connections. And you know, I'm not
Okay.
talking drug deals. I'm talking about like financial fraud, wire fraud. You know, counterfeit goods. That's a big one.
Okay.
And
Not only that, Armenians they do a lot of crimes like this also. Oh, go ahead.
yeah. Armenians. It's been in Detroit, but I know them Arab guys out there. They get down to in the streets.
Correct. But they're more sophisticated. It's a little different.
Right. Like you gotta legitimize them. Let's keep it quiet.
But listen, but listen. Hold on. But I don't know if you caught in the story that they're running up on elderly Asian people and snatching the jewelry from around their neck. So it's not just credit card scams. It's they're physically taking purses, pocketbooks, debit cards, jewelry, home invasions, you name it.
Yeah, and I know in LA, I heard they talk about this before. A lot of young kids out there doing smacking grabs, and it seems to be going around the country.
Correct.
And I don't know if it's some kids doing it or like grown-ups or whatever, but that seems to be the most like little trend right now. Smacking grabs and jackets and jewelry.
Yeah. And whoever got it, it really doesn't matter your race or ethnicity. They gonna take it. It doesn't really matter if you got it. They gonna come and get it.
Yeah, but that makes a lot of noise though. You know what I'm saying? When you going up in broad daylight, stuff like that. You know, real breakneck.
Yeah, but these people are desperate. This is actually going on in broad daylight a lot. People are desperate.
Right, like I said, you know, I've been in LA and Cali. I know it's hard as fuck, man.
Thank you for calling and enjoy the rest of your day, partner.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, I had another caller. You can call back 415.
Well, I must stop. I didn't want to, but I just want to show you. And he had this on video. And Biden signed the crime bill. So what's he going to do for the against the people like who are this league? Does he know about this? That there's a group of people like this that look like this out there robbing elderly Asian people. That no one isn't speaking about. Is he going? Is he going to? What's he going to do about that? And what happened with those shootings was another Asian man was, I believe one was Chinese and one was Vietnamese. So, what do you do when the suspects look like that? And like he was saying, they were waiting outside. They were waiting outside. These people were waiting outside to jump on these elderly Asian people. And everybody remember the bill that he signed, right? This is the bill that he signed. So, I wonder why that they didn't want to talk. Why did the news was hold back from that? But someone on social media say that black people were committing higher crimes on Asians. But my question is to you: do any of these people look black? Do any of these people look black? Look. They were a part of a Jeff Dory. Then he had the news clips on here showing two elderly women was getting this chain snatch coming out of a church. But they blame black people. Because they saw one black person probably jumped on a person and signed the whole bill. And say, okay, must be a whole mass of them, a group of them. And there have been the people who they kind of admire the most is the ones that combat them the most. Especially among Chinese. And even if you're not Chinese, you get part of it. You get Chinese. So you think that was something? And we got to be fair with this assessment. And most of them are mainly Chinese doing this. It's not all Asians. Because they're the ones that kind of like bringing that stuff on. And then there was a guy was over in some village and telling little African kids to call that, saying that you ugly, you black, and you're a monster. And that was on YouTube. And he had them saying in Mandarin. He had them saying that in Mandarin until one young lady who understood Mandarin, who was black, and telling them, why are you having these kids calling themselves ugly in Mandarin? Then he gonna play like he gonna play stupid. This was in Africa. But the reason why I'm showing is that they making it seem like we're doing this. Watch this. Against the Asians. That people that look like myself doing against Chinese people and other people. Oh, here's the Washington Post. It said video of anti-black discrimination among coronavirus fears. So they didn't want to get blamed, so they pass it on to the Africans. Because remember at that time when Trump said what he said, whatever, and they said, "Oh, no, it's the Africans. The Africans came over and put it on them." This is what they did. This is evidence at the Washington Post. The Chinese did this. This is Washington Post. No one ain't talk about that, are they? You ain't gonna hear that on mainstream, are you? Nope. But yet, and then, I forgot to tell you this, and I didn't know what he was saying was something similar to here. You had some people come from out of China, and it was here in Columbus too. This was a while back. A friend told me this, that they had a restaurant here, right? And my friend used to go by and go into their restaurant. And one day they ran out of chicken. Now I thought this was a stereotype. They kind of find out they ran out of meat and they served rodent. And they had to shut the restaurant. This was probably about 12, 13, 14 years ago here in Columbus, Ohio. And he was saying out there, it happened out there in California. Someone opened up, some people got sick. Come to find out, they let the food hit the food was on the floor and all these people were getting sick. So I think some part of California where he's from. And it was a big thing, and I didn't even know that. She told me, I said, really? And she said, yeah. She said she used to get her food and eat there all the time, and it was like here, like in most, between one of those middle class poverty neighborhoods that they have restaurants at, and the people got sick here. There was some people getting sick, so I don't really go into Chinese restaurants. After that, I don't go in. As the only Asian restaurant, if it's something like what I call, this one restaurant is like Asian we have here. It's pretty good. You can see what you're eating, and it's a restaurant called Mongolian Grill, and they got the beef, the chicken, they get all you can see the noodles, you can see anything. Plus you can see them openly cook your stuff, and it's packed. Usually packed on a Sunday. That's as far as Asian food that I ever get to. And they cook it just as good. They know how to cook it like they do in the Japanese restaurant, or one of them kind of restaurants. They cook it open for it and they serve it to you. Or like I said, you go up and get it raw and get your preservatives and put on it, sauces and herbs and everything, and you just put it on you get like barbecue or something, and you put it on there and I had them cook it, and never had no problem. That's as far as an Asian restaurant, and you know who's cooking your food. You know who's cooking it. And it's clean. Because they out there, where I get it from, my Asian food is where it's clean. The bathroom's clean, the restaurant's clean, the people are clean. And they're black and they're white. But they know how to they know how to make they know how to do the food. And they give you some bread, and they give you some chopsticks. So, but yeah, these people robbing elderly Asian people coming out of their temples and their churches. These were the people that were robbing elderly people. And he said, like he said, Don Mega said, ain't no one reporting about this. Nobody's talking about this. So he's the first one. There's people, yeah, about 100 people. But I just want to show you. But they talk about hate crime, even though that was two places. One was in Jamaica, and it was like I said, the one guy was in Kenya. They come to here. They come among Africans and Jamaicans, discriminating against Jamaicans and Africans because other Europeans are over there and other people in a black land, and they know that some people, because they figure it's poverty, so they feel like they set up their shop there and get their business. And so them Jamaicans, they burnt them down. So the Jamaicans burnt that restaurant down to the ground, all because the guy didn't want Jamaicans in his restaurant in Jamaica. But when it's like when they go through it, when they go through the discrimination, but now it's like they're perpetuating the same thing that they put on people that look like myself. I don't understand that, especially the Chinese. I don't know about them other people. And certain upper echelon Asian groups. And especially right, particularly here in America. Then it was bitten against the affirmative action too. But they benefit off of affirmative action. So this is why there's so much, not just here, but this is where some of them go. And it's just mostly it's Chinese that's doing this. It ain't the other Asian groups that I know about. And I just can't see how black people go over to their land either. Go over to China. I would want to go no China. For how much money or business in the world, I wouldn't go over there. Making blackface of you and stuff like that. I'm sorry, that's how I feel. I can see it was one of them other countries, but man, if they're gonna be like that, man, why would you want to go over there? And they can't accept there's another human being on the planet that's different, a different shade color because they're darker complected. So they feel like these darker complected people must not have nothing going on for themselves. So you kind of abuse them. But when you get abused by Europeans and these other people like Romanians, ain't nobody saying nothing. I just find that kind of strange. But yeah, but I just thought that was kind of strange. And there's more stories about this. It was out there. And they blame, and I never forget that when the corona came out, this is what they did. In fact, this was on CBS News. In fact, I remember this article. And the Africans said, we ain't had nothing to do with that. This is what they did. This is what they did in China. This is what they did in China. Because they're not all Asians. But this is what they did in China. What and here it says that. Let me read it to you. A sign displays at a McDonald's in I can't say the name, China read, "Black people are not allowed to enter, just one instantly." They had an article. So even in China, black people were allowed. So you were African American or African, you weren't allowed to go, you weren't allowed in their restaurants. They blame the COVID on you. If you black, you watching this video. They blamed it on black folks because at the time when Trump said it's a Wuhan virus, whatever. I mean, and I didn't agree with that to a certain degree because we know that everybody started jumping on people that look Asian. I definitely don't agree with something like that. But this is what they did. But nobody say nothing when Asian people in America get jumped on by Romanians. These are Romanians. This is a Romanian. I don't know if they're a group or a gang, or whatever. And like he said, nobody won't talk about it. This is off his channel. Look at these people. Not one black person robbed them, snatching chains. And I believe they says in Carson, California, not one black person doing it. They're jumping on the elderly people. But they blame black people. One man that have mental problems, and they write a crime bill up against that. And you can see that there's, even though that they're going through discrimination and going through what they call Asian hate, which was shifted, it's supposed to be shifted to the lower class black people. Why are you blaming us? That's what they did over in China. So when they start getting smoked by the mainstream community, they put it on the Africans and people that are African descent. That's what they did. They put it on, and you see the article. But when they get attacked, and there's no black people that attack them. No black people did attack their elderly people. In Carson, California, it was people from Romania. They come out of Romania. Heist jury. Don Maga reported this. His channel reported it. And Biden signed the crime because and then it was the guy who killed the ones that were in Atlanta. It was a white guy. It was a white guy that shot up. That it was a suburban Atlanta. That had an Asian massage parlor. It was a white guy. Went there and killed them. Killed 5-6 people. But black people commit the highest crimes against Asians. But when they said this, everybody put the blame and said that put them labeled up on the community. And you see what the sign read, right? Asians are not the racism. But even if anybody agreed that was wrong for them to get blamed for something that came out of a lab somewhere that affected the whole, don't mean that not everybody from that part of the world got to get it. Get the smoke from what a lab, and where it's still high concentration, and even on national news. There are people still have a high in China. And they still trying to figure out why over in Africa they're not having a high. Why are not people dying? And it's like they're doing in China. And they had it on national news. It was on national news in China. They had a whole bedload people. Like it was like here they try to. It was get high in America, but they slowed it down. but it, but over, but and we still have high cases. But China, they said it's even higher, and they said it was 60. They claimed it was 60. They allegedly said it was 60,000. We don't know. There could be more than that. That were passed away to corona. I'm sorry, to COVID. And they were showing them on. And this was on national TV. You can look it up on the news. But yet, even in the midst, that's why I said, even in the midst of racism, with other races will try to pass it off on other races. No, you got, those are the lower people. Those don't want to be stealing. You put it on them. You put it on those people. Don't put it on us. Put the virus on them. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. But that's what purely what they did out of China. So that's what they did. This is their native, back in their native country. So they had a crackdown in China, and you couldn't go in their restaurants because of fear of a disease. While the disease is in the land, and then people were probably in the land who were black, or probably was there when it was already spread out. It was probably already there, but they blamed the Africans for going over there. But yet they go to Africa and open up their business. They go to Africa and try to convince their presidents to let them in. But when they left, it came from China over to Africa. They would herd them up in there. Their residents that are in China, the Chinese are in Africa, and there was a whole mess of Chinese. The African governments didn't even do that to them. And people were upset about that. But over in China, it's the opposite. So you got Chinese people don't want African, and then I think it was an American couple or was an African couple. The woman was pregnant. They wouldn't even let her come into the hospital. They didn't even want her in the hospital in China. But if it was a pregnant Chinese woman, that would never happen in Africa. They would never tell the Chinese, we don't care, you ain't having your baby here. But they tell, when you go, that's why I said, why would any African want to go over to and fool with the Chinese? I don't understand why they want to fool with them. But yet when they get smoked and get jumped by the elderly people that are immigrants in America, and they got another immigrant of people that jump on them like these Romanians, we don't hear no smoke back from them. There's no criticism of them. And I think what he's saying is, like he's saying, he called it out. But that's Don Mega's channel. He's right on right now, but I cut down because of sound. But yeah, and you see what happened in the video with Jamaica. And we all in this together. That's why I said it's a certain level of racism, and I always said it's different levels of racism for different groups of people. It's like, is this group of people going to say, well, why should these people have it? And even after you show them the history and everything, there's still a competition among other groups of people when it comes against black people. Like, it's like, since black people are, they took a small percentage that do good in sports or music, whatever, out of the whole freaking, and think that's success. Well, what about the 99% of them? And this is why they have so much animosity and jealousy. Some of these other groups, like people like them, do. but yet their stores, their businesses is in the black, mostly black community, where it's white, but it's mostly black neighborhoods. Figure that out. But they're scared of the very people that you got to do business with. You don't like the very people you do business with. Please make it make sense. I never could figure that out. Why would any group of people put their business among people who they don't like? Why could they buy a business out there in the suburbs where their kids go to school at, and open up a restaurant or a convenience store out there? I just could never figure that out. Why I say, okay, if you don't like black people, why are you coming around in particularly a poor demographic of people, which is, sometimes 20% white, but it's mostly black and other people. But they don't trust these people, they don't like these people, but yet you come down and do business with these people. Why? I just don't. And you said, especially if I'm gonna get flagged, I'm gonna get scared, I'm gonna get robbed by these people. They're just low down, washable, get them away from me kind of people. Why come around black people? I never could figure, and that's what go for anybody. When I always say about white supremacy, it's like, why do you always want to come? Then don't go around people. Don't go to areas where the other people who are integrated, and maybe there's an integration of crime. Don't worry about it. Stay out there where you at. If you think that the innocent people, stay out there where you at. I just could never figure that out. But yeah, it's like how, I laughed at it. It's like, how in the world you're gonna be in a neighborhood full of people who you scared because you see on the nightly news, but you're scared of them, but you want them, but you don't want to be around them. Then you want what I call Simon Says with them. You want to so-called pick one of them, but you hate the rest of them. That's why I call it the Simon Says. I like you as a black, but I don't like them other ones over there, because it's like, really? But when you making the money and you used to see them, and then you got a whole masses of white people around you, oh, they cool with you then, because you're part of the class. But when you're not alone, my brother, my sister, you're just another Negro, just like they everybody else. And they treat you like it. And that's why I understand why you do business and stuff with them. That's why I said, but as long as black people accept that in their neighborhoods throughout America, they gonna keep making money, because no one can force you. They're not gonna apologize anything. You the gravy train. So that's all I got to say about that. But that's really interesting about that. And I just had to show you what happened down in Jamaica, in the short clips, and in Africa, where he having children. This man had children over to tell him Mandarin, I'm ugly, I'm a monster, I'm black, I'm ugly, I'm a monster. On the continent of Africa, in some small village outside of Kenya. Why would you come around with people you got this low opinion of? Stay where you at. Stay in your country. And I hope some of the people that see that don't go to their country. That's how I feel. It don't make no sense. They got to put up with that kind of racism from anybody. And now they seeing it come back on themselves. Because now you can't now it's someone among that community. And it's a sad thing that had to be like that in California. It's a sad day. It's sad that people have to lose their life. But I hope they don't have to project on another people. Now you see that it don't have. Now you see anybody can have a mental problem. It don't have to be just a crazy looking black person. I hope that they see that now. Like it could be somebody among your own, and that's what happened. Somebody in their own community, in L.A. and that one part of Northern California. It's a wake up call, ain't it? Because you ain't safe nowhere. You're not safe. You can't put evil on a race, a certain race. And I think they understood that out there. All right then, guys, take care.